Hey everyone, welcome to Film Talk. I'm your host, Ileana Melendez, and I'm joined here by the ever so lovely Josie Melendez. And we're just gonna sit down and talk to you about our first impressions of Marvel's latest film, Thor, Love and Thunder, directed by
Yes.
Taika Waititi and starring the usual suspects for every Thor movie.
Yeah, we're just gonna do a non-spoiler review. If you guys want, we can also we're thinking of doing a discussion episode about the state of Marvel, how we're feeling about recent projects and everything, and maybe we can discuss spoilers in that and let us know.
We're thinking of doing a deep dive because it's been weighing on us for a
Yeah, because I
hot
think,
minute.
yeah, this film is prime example of that, to the point where it's like a lot of people have been saying it and now I'm feeling it, where it's like, should we take a break from the MCU? Like, from stop pumping out shows, stop pumping out movies. Should we take a break?
Should we just take a break?
Yeah.
It's a great song by Hamilton as well. Not by Hamilton, in Hamilton, the musical. Hamilton didn't write music. Anyways, Thor Love and Thunder is the very highly anticipated follow-up to one of the highest rated and, in my personal opinion, one of the best MCU films ever,
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok. And it follows Thor basically right after the events of Endgame. So he's just trying to get back on his feet. It's very much advertised as a second coming of age for a 1,000-year-old god, which I think is pretty fucking interesting,
Yeah.
quite honestly.
He's still trying to find himself.
He is still trying to find himself, and it still has that that Taika Waititi humor and charm. Definitely a comedy, but tries to balance things out with action, but in terms of execution, maybe doesn't really hit the landing. Josie, you have thoughts?
Oh, I have many thoughts. I watched it twice and I liked it more the second time, but that doesn't mean much because I left it at the same rating. I
Right.
think it was the fact that I knew where things were going that it made it easier on me. But like overall, I have 3 pages of notes.
So if you want that deep dive, we have material.
Yeah, so in general, I like the narration with Korg because it's freaking Korg. I didn't
Yeah.
mind that. I like we saw Kamala Khan and Moon Knight in the opening credits. That was the title card. That was cool.
Oh, it's beautiful. There's an electric guitar
Yeah.
version of the Marvel intro music,
Like an
and I really
instrumental
love that.
electric guitar
Yeah,
rendition.
I loved, like, as soon as as soon as the movie starts, it's just oozing Taika style,
Yeah.
very much what we expected and what we love. And honestly, that first half hour of the movie is really good. It's really, really, really good. I really love it, but I feel like it kind of lost its way. Like the
Yeah.
plot points and the connections between that just didn't feel like they were properly fleshed out. Everything
Yeah,
felt
like
skeletal.
Yeah, like I wrote down the opening promise a movie we didn't really get. I wish they had kept that tone with Gore throughout, Gore the God Butcher throughout the entire film. Though, speaking of him, since mentioning him, I really liked what Christian Bale brought to this movie. I liked what he did with the character, though sometimes it did feel a bit silly. I liked it more the second time around because, again, I was expecting it, but the first time it was a bit jarring to get that tonal shift from this very serious, heartbroken man that has resorted to killing all the gods to just having those silly moments where he like conjures up shadow creatures and like twists their heads and starts giggling maniacally, like what?
Yeah,
But-
it's hard. It's hard to make that a good balancing act.
Like I understand it is Taika's style, but the first time it did catch me off guard because I was liking that more serious tone that they were taking, and yeah, the CGI was a little bit wonky for me and the first time I saw it. The second time, not as much, which just means because the film was made for IMAX, which that bothers me because if you see it in a regular screen, it might look a little bit wonky the way it did for me that first time. But if you see it in IMAX, it's okay. And I'm not one to always splurge on IMAX. I'm not. I don't. No. I like my regular screens. So for people that watch it on like a regular screen and don't go to a Dolby or an IMAX, it might be a little bit jarring, that first scene. But I like the goats. No matter how disappointed I could be, I knew the goats would have my back.
The goats screaming. Do you still hear them, Clarice?
Yes.
That was it.
No, people love them in my screening. I'm like, I'm in the right place. Both times people were laughing and I'm like, I'm in the right place.
I love them. You know what? We needed more of that. Perhaps
I
we
wanted
just
more
needed more of the
goats.
goats. We needed more of the goats. No, but
Instead of more
honestly,
cowbell, more goats.
more goats. It was good though because I loved how Taika didn't shy away from being campy as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, the pieces were there. I just felt a little bit awkward, and not in
Yeah.
the good Taika Waititi sense where like his humor is super awkward. I love that humor. I love that sense of
I
humor
do
in his
feel,
style.
yeah, like I do feel he got his creative justice. I feel like he was given the space to be creative. So I don't know what it is, but there's something that does not vibe with me. And I am a fan of Taika's work because I know a lot of people found Thor Ragnarok jarring. A lot of people don't vibe with Taika's style. I'm not on that boat. So that is not where we're coming from, like both of us. But there's just something that doesn't click for me with this film. And I think it's maybe that off balance of humor with the seriousness. Like, for example, there's just so many moments where, not to get into specifics, but Valkyrie is cut out of the action. And I
A
didn't notice
lot.
it as much in the first time, but the second time around, it bothered me even more. So that was also, because it was so nonchalant the way they handled it. Like, oh, I'm wounded. I can't fight. And I'm like, you're
That's it.
Valkyrie. You're
Yeah.
Valkyrie.
It just everything, no spoilers obviously, but kind of what we expected to be like this really cool trio just didn't really happen at the end. We didn't really
Yeah.
get that. It just really focused on Thor and
And Jane.
his it's very much a Thor and Jane movie, which is
Yeah.
fine. That's fine because you know me, you know you. We love it when people are advertised one thing and then all of a sudden this is a love story. Like that's fine.
Yes.
I don't mind that.
Even
But
though the whole love story aspect was kind of undercut.
it was. It's just you know what? Here's the thing. The movie's less than 2 hours long. And I know that the 90-minute flick is Josie Core. This is the golden rule.
But
That's
this is
fine.
the MCU.
This is the MCU. We could
It's
have
the same way,
gotten 10
like,
more minutes. 10 more
Yeah,
minutes.
it's the same way that when we get those MCU shows, they give us, what, 30 minutes of a TV
Of
show?
episode,
When
yeah.
that's why I was liking Kamala Khan, because in Miss Marvel, those first episodes were 45 minutes because the MCU should treat their shows like a drama, not a half-hour comedy. These aren't comedies. Sure, they have humor, but structure-wise, they are dramas in storytelling, so you should give them the length of a drama. So it's kind of surprising that the MCU films are being shorter than the way they started with the first phase and all that. But also, it just speaks to the fact that they're pushing these and trying to keep to a schedule that is not realistic because of course we had a pandemic and it is affecting the visuals, it is affecting the storytelling, also the fact that like animators aren't unionized for like the visual effects and everything, so like you have these people pumping out projects constantly and working ardently, which again, praise for them because they are doing so much. And yeah, whatever, CGI backdrop, CGI cinematography isn't a thing, blah blah. Animation has cinematography, so yes, CGI and cinematography is a thing. And they create these beautiful backdrops. They create these beautiful backdrops and everything. Like there are some really nice images here where it's like page from the comics to screen. But there are moments where it is jarring, and especially but also don't be taking them out of context, because some people post pictures of scenes and it's like, look at this, it's so bad, and it's like, do you know the difference between a visual medium versus photography? This isn't photography. Of course it's going to be wonky if you're capturing something in the middle of an action. But anyways, there are a lot of things to speak on, and I'm just trying to prove I'm not a hater of the MCU. I'm not one of those people that sits in my behind the screen like, the MCU sucks. No, I like the MCU. I guess I'm just disappointed because we love it. We expect a certain caliber, a certain standard from them, and you can tell that certain things are getting in the way, and sometimes it's nice to, circling back, take a break.
Take a break.
Because
I mean, especially
could have been really good.
It really could have. Again, the story doesn't have that connective tissue between the plot points. Everything just felt like the first or second draft. It didn't feel polished enough because I really like the ideas. I like the lore with Jane. You don't have to make things complicated, but just take a little bit more time with them so that we can get into it and really like understand what's going on and actually immerse ourselves in it, because everything just feels choppy when it's put together. And I think that's Thor Love and Thunder's biggest weakness, is the way that it's put together. Individually, if you cut it up in chunks, yeah, these are really cool, but then it just doesn't feel like it has a really good like continuous narrative. Things kind of, especially in that first viewing, things kind of come out of left field. There's some plot twists, but at the same time the stakes are really low. Even though they're like, they say they're high, but we don't feel like they're high.
No.
You feel me?
I mean, for a character called the God Butcher, we never see him butchering gods. Only once at the beginning, like within the first 5 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah.
But
It was pretty tamed down.
Yeah,
I feel like it
other
was
than
scaled
that-
back.
Yeah, other than that, performances were good. Honestly, for what they were given, I thought everyone, like, I enjoyed watching the actors and their performances. For me, it was mostly the story. I think the story could have been better. Because I like what they were trying to do, but it was just the stakes, it was the tone, it was the atmosphere. Also, little disclaimer, kind of a spoiler, but for Jane's story, just letting you know, it deals with cancer. Like, her character has cancer now, and that's her main battle throughout the film. So, of course, disclaimer for that, because they do touch on it. And I don't know if it's in an uplifting way, but
Yeah.
that's to be decided.
It definitely tries, it tries to do the characters justice, but again, I don't know if it's simply how rushed it was. I feel like when this was announced back in 2019 during San Diego Comic-Con, we were, and I think they had, even they themselves, the creators, had a different expectation of what this project was going to be. And then the pandemic happened. So what I thought was going to be more Valkyrie centered.
No, for me, the Guardians, they weren't there. Like, first
Guardians
5
of the
minutes and
Galaxy,
they're gone.
they're barely in it. I understand it's a Thor movie. I understand, not being a hater, but again, we were
promised one thing.
We were promised one thing, and we kind of just got a quarter of it. It's not that we didn't get it; it was just like a crumb. Like, we ordered an entree and we got like a half-eaten appetizer. That's what happened.
Speaking of which, they, not to spoil, they go to a place where a lot of gods are. And
which is in the trailers.
Yes, there is one god named Bao, and he's the god of dumplings, and he's adorable.
You know, my boyfriend said that Bao competes with socks. And I said, I need you to rethink that statement.
Socks is cuter.
Socks is obviously cuter, but Socks has more screen time. But the Bao god was very cute. No, I really like that there is like a really cool exploration. I like that it explores different aspects of the mythology. We kind of explore Thor's world, but again, we breeze through these scenes and these sets so quickly. Like, it felt rushed, and it didn't really allow me the space, at least me as a viewer, the space to truly enjoy it as much as I did Ragnarok. I feel like Ragnarok, the stakes were higher, it was more focused, it was hilarious, it was well balanced, we had, fucking amazing cast, a really great villain. I mean, to this day, Ragnarok remains top 5 MCU. It's an excellent movie.
Again, the balance, the serious moments, the sad moments, they were there. Here, it focuses too much, in my opinion, on the humor. And even though it's good humor, I mean, for me, the jokes landed, but still, I was paying attention to the fact that we were undercutting these these opportunities for more emotional moments. Now, that being said, like, my rating stays at a solid 3 out of 5 after both these viewings. And even though I did enjoy my time the second round, it is not that original. I know that saying the originality, like, blah, 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 blah. We get it. Everything's been done now, except Everything Everywhere All at Once exists, and that's fucking original. But anyways, the thing with Thor and Love and Thunder is that, to me, it's so similar in plot to Rise of the Guardians, and I will not let that go. I will not let that go.
That's the only spoiler. If you have seen Rise of the Guardians,
it's the same
basically
film.
The movie. It's the
same
film. Thing.
It's the same thing. I will not let that go. As a fucking Rise of the Guardians stan, and I'm swearing so much already.
She's angry.
That is a Rise of the Guardians stan. It's the same movie. The kids, like, in their beds, then at the end, the kids. It's the same movie. That's all I'll say. Same freaking movie, and I'm angry.
She is angry.
I want respect for my Guardians. Not the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Rise of the Guardians.
Very different thing.
Because instead of gods, it's the freaking people like Santa Claus, Sandman, Jack
I have seen this movie.
Exactly.
I just don't remember it.
The comparison. It's like instead of gods, it's these people. There are still kids involved. There's the boogeyman. So basically, Jude Law could have played Gore, and it would have been fine. But I liked Christian Bale. I will say that.
Christian Bale really, he put his all into it because
he put his
Christian
old
Bale.
butt into this.
His little booty, his little Bale booty. But again, undercut. Didn't have enough screen time, for my opinion. I feel like it focused way too much on comedy that didn't really. Because I love the comedy. The comedy is great to have. Because I already saw it to me. He's like, oh, it's a comedy. You know, just shut your brain off. My brother in Christ.
I don't want to. Make me think. I want to think. That's what I loved about these movies.
They actually made
clever. They actually made you question some things here and there. And no, that's not it all the time. But I mean, come on. I like
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is an excellent comedy that made us cry our hearts out. Hello.
Comedy is hard to pull off.
Funny.
Comedy is way harder than drama.
Yep. Landing a funny joke is damn near impossible.
That's why the Oscars don't nominate enough comedy films, because they don't get it.
They don't get it.
It's up here.
The girls who know.
The girls who know, and the Oscars aren't the girls that know. They're not in the
They are absolutely not. They're not even girls. Where can they find you, Josie?
You can find me at the Josie Marie on Twitter and Letterboxd. What is your rating for the film?
Oh, I gave it a 3.5. I was generous. Because I still had fun. Again, I still had fun with it. Is it super gay? No.
Okay, that's what we'll end off. It's not super gay. There was one moment where Valkyrie kisses a lady in waiting of Zeus's hand. And I'm here like,
oh yeah, it's
you
on the hand.
you should have kissed her and be
gone
and just jumped off like ha.
We were deprived. Is it super gay in aesthetic though?
In essence, it is.
It is, in essence. In substance,
I mean,
no.
Zeus kept talking about an orgy, and I just kept thinking about What We Do in the Shadows.
Taika, again, this is why I'm like, I'm not entirely putting the blame on Taika Waititi, because Taika Waititi puts his all into his comedies.
It's the same thing that always happens. It's Marvel trying to get these auteur directors, but then they undercut their essence. And anyways, Eternals is currently streaming on Disney Plus. Go watch it.
So is Shang-Chi. Again, Phase 4 has had some excellent Marvel movies, but that was last year.
Thor Love and Thunder is good. It's good. It's just not fine. It's not giving what we want, what we deserve. Because we have seen what the MCU can give. We have seen what they can offer. And just because you're successful doesn't mean you should stop trying. That's my mantra.
And if you think, I'm sure executives are like clutching their pearls because of Eternals, but Eternals made a shitload of money anyway. You can still do things that are different because you're gonna make money anyway, even if you have a bunch of fucking people that hated it for some godforsaken reason.
Amen.
You can find me at Captain Melendez on Letterboxd and Twitter. And you can watch Thor Love and Thunder in theaters everywhere. And if you don't want to go to the theaters, it's probably going to be on Disney Plus in like 3 months. So don't worry about it. I mean, shit. Fucking Doctor Strange is already on Disney Plus and it's been 2 months. So just wait.
Again, pumping them out.
Exactly. Anyways, Disney Plus is there. More important than Disney Plus, Filmme Talk. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on the notifications. Let us know what else you want us to review. And comment down below if you like this. What do you think of Thor? If you really want us to do like that Marvel deep dive and perhaps, I don't know, just go off, sis. Do you want us to go off, sis? Let us know. And if you are listening to us on our podcast platforms, make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you are listening to us. And yeah, that's about it. we're gonna speed running this, but those are our thoughts.
It's still a 20-minute
Bye.
review. We did well.
We did great. Bye.
Bye.